Hey folks, it's Matt Zachary, and welcome to Vax On, a weekly segment of my podcast Adaptations right here on the OffScrip network.
Hey, I'm Alura Nanos. I'm a lawyer, a journalist, a mom of a teenage narcoleptic, and a professional big mouth.
Lou and I go back 30 years as best friends, and we're here to have fun and bring you a layperson's guide to what the hell just happened this week in healthcare as America gets its Vax on and shows COVID the door.
We're here together to learn, complain, and include you in the conversation.
So join us on Twitter at VaxOnPod and share your stories and grievances using the hashtag VaxOn.
All right, Matt, let's get at it.
Hello, Allura.
Matt, what's happening?
Oh my goodness, we're back live in studio.
I love being live in studio.
Fun week.
Such a fun week.
It was 90, then it was 40, then it was 10. Now it's 60. The weather's having all sorts of fun with us.
The weather is freaking out.
It's a good thing climate change is the hoax. So, I'm just going to go to sleep right now.
Can I tell you, my daughter was studying climate for her 7th grade science test, and I had to help her study. And oh my God, by the end of the study session, I had such mammoth anxiety. It was just terrible.
Was that like world-ending panic curriculum, or what are they teaching in 7th grade?
They were just teaching like normal, like what creates major climate changes. And I mean, it was very moderate, but as someone who understands that climate change is a major crisis, it was pretty terrifying because, it was by no means any kind of like, ultra politicized curriculum.
Right.
But it was very scary because we never learned that at all.
No, well, I guess it wasn't. We had the ozone. That was the ozone big deal.
Right,
in
the
80s.
Chlorofluorocarbons.
Yes, CFCs.
Don't use Aquanet.
Aquanet.
Yeah, Aquanet was going to kill everybody. And then what happened?
The ozone is on its way to be healed, apparently.
Did they fix it?
They did fix it.
But they fixed the ozone, but did they fix the hairspray? Or they just put different shit in the hairspray?
I think it's different net now. Now it's internet, not Aquanet.
I remember being like legit concerned about the Aquanet.
What are we going to do?
And then it was
My hair needs to be this high.
Yes. The ultimate Staten Island concern.
Depp was the alternate, I suppose.
Depp was like the most ghetto hair gel
it's like
ever.
The Dracar of hair product.
Oh, it was so bad. It was like glue or do they even make Depp anymore?
I don't know. But it was like you drop something in it, like it wasn't even like Prel. It didn't even fall. It was like just like in Jell-O.
Yeah. It was, oh God. Did you have to go there and bring that up?
I mean, you brought up that. Anyway, in better news. Like what's better than like, I don't know, Depp and CFCs? The Queen has COVID. It's better than Depp, but it's worse than what we'd like. But what's all this then?
I know. Queen Elizabeth, she's got COVID. And here's the thing.
Is it Delta, Omicron, or is it COVID Classic?
I would kind of like to know that. I would like to think that if the Queen's going to get COVID, it's COVID Classic.
She's got to get COVID Classic. She deserves COVID Classic.
I mean, Omicron is a lot
not a
less.
bad way, but I mean, like, she's the Queen. She needs the best one. The original. There's no substitute for Queen Elizabeth.
She needs the best one. But I mean, I have to tell you, she's 95, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much any illness that she gets right now is like, let's lock this shit down and be careful with this lady.
She's like a soft breeze away from collapse.
Yeah, although she is, you watch The Crown? I mean, this lady is going strong.
No, she's going to die of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, she's just going to not be here anymore.
Right.
Is the thing sometime.
Good old-fashioned just dying of old age.
Right,
At some point in your hundreds.
I guess.
Well, the Queen Mother lived to, 103, 4?
Yeah, she lived, she's got wonderful genes. But
inbreeding has its privileges.
Oh, I knew
I went there.
You did. I wasn't going to go there.
I don't know if we have a lot of people listening in the UK, but I love you guys.
I love the UK. Although I have to say this, I'm having a little problem with the logic right now in the UK.
Go forth.
Because at the same time, so it was Sunday when Queen Elizabeth tested positive for COVID. And then Monday when Prime Minister Boris Johnson decided that they're not going to have COVID restrictions anymore.
Right.
That seems weird.
I don't know. Like, it's London. They do drive on the wrong side of the road. There's got to be some calculus there.
I feel like also it makes not a lot of sense to me what they're doing in England. So, and I am all for.
But they got rid of everything, right? Everything's gone back to normal as if nothing ever happened.
I mean, apparently Johnson said that starting Thursday, which is the day this episode drops, they're going to end contact tracing and they're going to end the requirement that if you test positive, you have to stay home and isolate.
Right. No more quarantine.
That's so strange to me. I mean, I understand ending quarantine for exposure. I do. But to say you're now not obligated to quarantine even when you have COVID seems kind of cavalier.
I mean, from what I understand, Newsom is doing the same thing in California. They're getting rid of everything except for like certain pockets of Los Angeles.
I don't understand this. I kind of feel like there are two things I'd like to keep in place no matter what. First, if you know for a fact that you have COVID, stay the fuck home. I'm not saying you got to rearrange your entire life because you might have it or you might have been exposed.
Kind of like if you have like a regular fever or flu or cold, just stay home.
Stay home. If you have a stomach virus, stay the fuck home. I mean, I guess you're not legally required to stay home if you have a stomach virus. But, you know,
it's a courtesy.
It's more than a courtesy when we're talking about a virus that we know is extremely contagious.
Right.
You know, so, and we know how it's contagious. I kind of feel like stay the fuck home. And I wouldn't have any problem if they kept on the books regulations that you have to stay home if you know you've been infected with COVID.
I think that's fine. I mean, are we moving toward, is this what endemic is? Where we just kind of manage it, we cut our losses, we hope for the best, and we do what we can.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes. I just don't understand why regulations can't be like at medium. It's kind of like they're either on or off. Because in Britain, they're also stopping free COVID testing, which I think is idiotic.
No, that should be...
It's idiotic.
Yeah, why? I don't get that.
I don't get it at all. I mean, except for I guess the rationale is that the government just can't pay for endless COVID tests. But like, are people abusing COVID tests? Is that like really a big problem?
Is it really that expensive at this point of scale?
It certainly shouldn't be.
Right.
Right. So I just feel like if there's a way to be safer, why would you want to make it difficult for people to be safer? That just seems dumb to me.
What's also funny is that the rules only apply to England themselves, and most don't know or maybe do that. The United Kingdom is a series of countries that are mostly connected.
Are you going to make me do a geography thing about
here's
the UK?
Here's like the urine end of the pool. Like forget, I know Wales and Ireland are separate, but Northern Ireland, Scotland, like they're all part of one big island.
Right. But
there's no
they're
like
all
giant
different.
wall that you have to cross over.
True. I mean, I saw Braveheart and Scotland likes to just do things differently.
They kind of do whatever they want.
But can I tell you this quote that I found really amusing? So Boris Johnson, this is what he said in his speech. It's time that we got our confidence back. We don't need laws to compel people to be considerate to others. We can rely on that sense of responsibility toward one another. Like,
how British of him.
That was so British. Like, we don't need the laws. We'll just be polite.
That goes back to a Robin Williams skit in the 1980s where how like we have all the cops have guns in this country, but in England they don't.
Right.
So how do cops threaten you? Like, stop, or I'll say stop again.
It was funny because I read that. I was like, really? Like, we're just going to be considerate? And then for a minute I said, oh, well, I guess it's England. So
yeah.
I guess maybe that means
they get a mulligan. Actually, that's Scottish.
Isn't that a great stereotype, though?
What?
The British stereotype that people are just more polite. It's a great stereotype. I don't know if it's accurate at all, but I just feel like it's a fantastic stereotype.
I think of all the stereotypes to possibly be cast with, that's a good one.
It's fantastic.
You're all damn polite.
Yeah, you're just so polite. Bad teeth, but polite.
With your umbrellas and your nice shoes.
With your umbrellas. It's also a great stereotype. Always prepared for the rain.
Now, your chimney sweeps, and your Mary Poppins, and your Dick Van Dykes, and your chitty chitty bang bangs, and all that. Yeah, good luck. Your Austin Powers and all that.
I love me some Brits. I'll say that.
No, I love London. It's a great city.
I've never been to London, but
really, you're missing out.
I know. I should go. Right? I should be there.
I'm like a human photo for London. I could tell you what to do, where to go. I've been in so many times.
Do you need me to go there to go tape a podcast?
Yeah,
I'll go.
Let's like Charles Carroll, we'll send you off on a mission.
I'm all about it, man. Anyway, that's what's happening in London. Would you like to hear what's happening in Africa? Because there's apparently some good news out of Africa.
I know. Like, we don't get to say that a lot because that poor continent gets the shit under the stick most of the time.
Yeah, but right now it actually sounds very good. The World Health Organization said that 6 African countries, namely Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia, would be the first countries on the African continent to receive the technology needed to produce mRNA vaccines.
So they're giving them like the tools to build the warehouses to manufacture in the continent rather than shipping all the stuff to them.
That is what it sounds like. Now, I'm going to admit something.
You don't know.
I don't know what that means. No. So now,
aren't we supposed to be reading the news?
No, I am reading the news, and I'm very glad. Like it clearly says that now Africa is going to be able to produce the vaccines themselves.
Right.
Okay. So
That's
I
good.
get it. I get
self-sustaining, teach a man to fish.
Absolutely.
Right.
It sounds wonderful. What I don't understand is what does that mean that they're going to get the technology? So is the technology for mRNA vaccines, does that mean like the formula? Does it mean the machinery?
Maybe the raw materials to build the factories or design the laboratories to produce mass scale of product?
I just feel like it's intentionally vague. They're getting the technology. Like, are they getting like the blueprint for the vaccine? And they're like, here's the information. Good luck. Or are they?
I'd like to think they're teaching a man to fish. They're going to teach them. They're going to build all the tech. They're going to use the most brilliant scientists, scientific minds in Africa, in these countries that have the Wakandans of Africa, are going to be given sort of the kitchen utensils and the pots and the pans and the ingredients and go cook a steak.
And is that called the technology?
Whatever I just said made sense in my head.
Listen, whatever it is, even if it is just the blueprints, I am thrilled for Africa. This sounds like a wonderful thing. And
we need more people to have access to this vaccine.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's all good. I just wish I understood a little bit clearer what it is that Africa is getting and how it's getting it. Because frankly, if it's just like the how-to guide, like they probably could have sent that to Africa via email like a year ago.
This is not Ikea. It's not building. It's not like
right. I hope they don't get the Ikea.
Like everything's Swedish. Just put it together yourself. Good luck.
I went to Ikea over this past weekend, and Jesus, let me tell you, no. Oh my God! Like I came home and I said, I'm going to put this shelf together, and I'm going to do it because I'm a modern woman and I can do it. Yeah, I lasted about 90 seconds.
And have your Glubnik come together. I just broke a Laura with Glubnik. It's a nice five shelf ladder.
My God, it was a fucking mess is what it was. And my daughter, it was her first trip to Ikea. So on the way in.
By the way, not a sponsor.
On the way in, I explained to her, we're going to this big store where it's really cool and you get to
Wait, she's never been to Ikea?
She's never been there, no.
That's a culture shock moment to go in there with the meatballs and everything.
So I said to her on the way in, I was like, we're going to the store and it's really fun because you can shop for your new room by looking at bedrooms. She was like, that sounds fun. I was like, and there's meatballs. But also everything is cheap because it's a shit show and you have to figure out how to put the stuff together. And she just looked at me like, okay. And I was like, also it's Swedish. She was like,
and everything's named Glorkba. Hoopnog.
Stop. You just have those right there.
I broke a Laura.
Oh my God. Everything needs an IKEA name now.
Yes. This show is now sponsored by Yorknog.
I feel like if they had given the COVID vaccine an IKEA name, people would never have been against it.
Actually, the lamp behind you, the lamps that are in this are called Magnarps. Real look it up. Google it, kids. The Magnarp is like a paper lamp from IKEA. It's great when it works. All hair Magnarp. All right. On with the Sermo poll. We're here to do our Sermo poll.
Yeah.
Just let's remind the listeners again, what is Sermo? Why are we doing this?
Okay. So Sermo is an international social media platform that is used purely by physicians worldwide.
1.3 million members.
1.3 million members. And it allows doctors from across the world to talk to each other and have a platform to interact. And what we get to do is ask our questions on the Sermo platform.
To those millions of doctors. And we get responses back from doctors all over the world in the form of a poll. So it allows us to sort of take the temperature on some, hot medical issues that we might be interested in and just kind of hear what people have to say. And we don't know which geography. And we're not privy to where in the world these doctors are responding to our polls, but it's a general global sentiment response to the questions that you tell us to ask them.
Yep.
And it's just great insight. So what do we ask them this week?
So we're really concerned this week about what's happening with the vaccines for the young kids under 5 years old.
Right.
Lots of families still anxiously awaiting a pediatric vaccine for kids ages 6 months to 4 years. And we want to know, what's happening with that? So we asked a series of questions. First, we asked, will you recommend that your patients vaccinate their kids that are between 6 months and 5 years? And 65% of the doctors said yes. 35% said no, that they would not recommend vaccinating young children.
And we don't know why. We just asked them yes or no questions.
Right. We don't know why. It may be because they're against the vaccine. It may be because they distrust something in kids that age, or it may be because they're like, sir, I'm a podiatrist.
This is a Wendy's.
I know, right. It may be that this is a Wendy's situation.
All right. Next question.
Would you vaccinate your own children if they were between those ages? Which I think is an interesting question.
Yeah. Like, would you take your own medicine?
Right. And that really gets to the heart of it, right? That's even if you're a podiatrist.
Right.
Even if you were at a Wendy's, would you vaccinate?
Or a podiatrist at Wendy's.
Right. Would you vaccinate your own kids? Same percentages.
65-35, yes,
Yeah,
no.
65-35, yes, no.
Makes sense.
Absolutely. In your opinion, will parents of children in that age group be more or less likely to vaccinate their kids against COVID as compared to parents of older children? 20% said that they think those parents would be more likely to vaccinate. 63% said less likely. 18% said the same. And that makes sense to me. I think that when you have very young children, especially because those kids are getting lots of other vaccines at that age, I can imagine people will be more hesitant.
I mean, to be honest with you and the listeners and my whole universe, if I had children under 5, I would personally be hesitant to give them any vaccine for any reason.
It's just sort of the way it is.
Outside of the ones you're supposed to get them that have been proven for many, many years.
Right. I mean, it's like you feel that way when it's very young kids that you're just kind of afraid to do anything.
Right.
And whether or not that's
rational. Because they're giant meatloafs that could, your goal is to not kill them.
Right. And I think it's kind of like not as informed by medicine and science, and it's just informed
instinctive protectionism.
Right. It's like this weird, like, I don't even know, and I hate doing all of it. And
like, I'm not going to give them cucumbers.
Right, because you're still in the, like, I don't know, can I give them peanut butter? Can I give them shellfish?
Right.
I remember our pediatrician, when my son was 18 months old, I said, so can he have shellfish? And the doctor was like, what? What are you going to give him? And I was like,
in like puree form? What are you thinking?
I was like, it's Christmas Eve and we're Italian. Like, I need to know if he can eat like snails and smelts. They were like,
what house do you live in?
That's what he said. He was like, you could try it. I don't think he's going to eat it. And then my son just scarfed up those scallops.
Nice.
I know. Fourth question. Do you have reservations about the approval of the vaccine, given that for ages 2 to 4, the immune response of a 2-dose regimen was not as robust as other age groups? Now, this I think this is an important thing here, right? Because the immune response for those real young kids, age 2 to 4, it seemed like it wasn't really as good as for older kids.
It was like 6 months to 2 was good, and like 4 to 5 was good. But in between wasn't so great.
Yeah, it wasn't so great. So doctors, 65% of them said, yes, we do have some reservations. 35% said, no, we're not worried about it.
Identical to questions 1 and 2. Interestingly enough.
That's true. That is interesting. And last question, do you agree that rather than wait for the results of a 3-dose regimen, regulators should move ahead with the less robust 2-dose regimen given the urgency of the situation? Like, should we just go ahead with what we've got, basically?
70-30, yes, I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does make sense. I think these are hard questions.
What's an over-under at this point? Again, like science is knowledge in the moment.
Yeah.
Like we're only forecasting what we know based on data.
Yeah. And I think that, this data for real young kids, I think it's difficult to know, like if you were in charge of making these rules and making these decisions, I think it would be tough. So, vaccination is a good thing and it helps and it works and all that. And there's, hasn't been a lot of side effects, but, I don't know. I think it's tough. It would be much easier if it was like it worked 99% for everybody aged, 6 days and up.
Like aspirin.
Does it work for everybody? Yeah,
I think aspirin works for everybody.
Not me. I have a bleeding disorder. I can't take
you're the
aspirin.
only one that doesn't work. You are always the exception. All right. On that note, back to Wendy's, and now a word from Wendy's, our sponsor. Not really our sponsor. We'll be back after this.
Has your chronic illness made it difficult to continue working in the traditional way? Want to learn how to find and create flexible remote work that both accommodates your chronic illness and generates an income? Join the Patients Getting Paid membership, a community of chronicpreneurs where people just like you find workshops and trainings, weekly updated condition-specific gigs, twice monthly coaching calls, co-workings, accountability, and the kindest community to support you on your path to make money while working from anywhere and taking good care of yourself. Learn more or join us at patientsgettingpaid.com.
We are back, and we stopped picking on Florida for a long time, and we're not really doing it today either. We're kind of picking on Canadians again.
I don't feel, listen, I'm not picking on Canada. I'm just here reporting the fact.
Okay.
And
this once utopian landscape of moving there someone gets elected is no longer like the bastion of opportunity we thought it was.
No, but things are, I guess, getting better, right? Because they broke up that whole shit show on the bridge.
Yeah, finally. The thing we talked about last week, the trucker thing, right?
The trucker thing, the blockade. They seem to have broken that up, although Prime Minister Trudeau says, like, listen, not so fast. I still need these emergency powers because the people are still kind of standing by and they may regroup and make another blockade soon. So I need to keep these powers going.
Does he need sharks with frickin' laser beams on them too?
I think he might.
Okay.
I'm imagining, like, why don't they just paint the ground in that bridge, like with the crisscross, like the don't block the box thing?
Right.
Because I feel like there is no fear like the fear of blocking the box.
I want them to do like a Wile E. Coyote where they stretch the road into a rock and paint the cave of the road extending through the rock, and then the trucks just crash on the rocks.
Oh my God. That's so grim.
Yeah.
That's
But come on, cartoons for the win.
Can I read you my favorite quote from the story about Canada that I read?
Please do.
Okay, here it says, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said that those who had their bank accounts frozen were influencers in illegal protests in Ottawa. Now, here's my question as I read this. The mounted police are there? I did not even consider.
Do they have guns?
I don't know. They must.
It's like, stop or I'll stomp on you.
I just had never considered
On my caribou.
In my mental picture of what was happening in Canada, like I'm picturing like handsome Trudeau doing something and people getting pissed off at him, and then I'm picturing like a bunch of truckers on this bridge and everybody being very cold. What I am not picturing
with
is,
Ryan Reynolds in the background.
Yes,
and,
yes.
And any Canadian famous American
and people
celebrity.
just randomly walking around being like, "What is all this about?" Like that's what I'm picturing. Okay.
I need Terrence and Phillip to do a song about this from the South Park movie.
Yes, please do that. But I never at any point had a mental picture of anyone on horseback. And I just feel like throwing that in just changes the whole mental picture.
That's hysterical. Like the mounted brigade.
I feel like usually horse beats random vagrant or whoever lying around.
Right.
But then like I think truck beats horse.
But caribou beats truck.
Caribou does beat truck. But
You seen those? Ever seen one up close?
No.
They're like 40 feet tall. They're like
Are
these
they?
massive dinosaur-like giant things.
Can I tell you a fantastic anecdote about caribou?
Go ahead. Please do.
I have an aunt who grew up in the Philippines, and I once asked her, "Did you have any pets growing up?" And she grew up very poor in a poor country, and she said, "Oh yes, we had a pet caribou." And I was
In the Philippines?
and she said, and I rode it to school. So I was like, "What?" It made no sense. I couldn't understand where she was going. Then I found out what the issue was. There is another animal called a carabao.
Oh.
That is actually a water buffalo.
Okay.
That's what she had as a pet.
Caribou and a carabao.
Two different things.
The more you know. I get it through the rainbow.
Come on, it's the best anecdote. Do you have a caribou anecdote? No, you don't.
You own the caribou anecdote moment of the day.
So here's where we're going to leave things. So Trudeau still has the emergency powers. So far, it sounds like things are getting better because they did break it up on the bridge. So like, I guess things are getting better. People still hate Trudeau because they don't want him to have those emergency powers. But most of the protesters are gone. So I don't know that I believe that they're just going to like wake up someday and be like, you know what, let's go back to that bridge. I don't feel like that's the way protests work.
I had a final thought before you wrap the show.
Yeah.
We're approaching a point where, yes, we will hopefully be, or maybe already are, in this endemic stage, at least in many, many countries, where we're just going to deal with it. And just to go back to what we talked about in the beginning, hope that when people get sick, like they normally used to get sick, they just kind of go home and stay home and don't get other people sick with colds, flus, stomach virus, whatever you have that's wrong with you. I'd like to think traditional common courtesy was, I'm going to stay home. I'm not going to go to work today because I don't feel like great. This idea of getting rid of free COVID tests bothers me because there should be a way, at least for the foreseeable couple of months, to allow people who choose to be the decent type of citizens. Because I'd like to think it would be easier for the average person that isn't feeling well to just do a home test than worry about going to the doctor, infecting people in the office, and spreading it in a way that's even if it's not as severe as like COVID Classic. Omicron is more pervasive, but less severe in most cases. I think it bothers me. I guess where I'm ranting about this is that in the spirit of endemic, all the people we've been demanding, come on, please get vaccinated for the greater good. If we're at a point now where it's moot to be vaccinated, did they win?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think that what you're what you're talking about is the most important point here, which is one of the few good things that came out of this pandemic is that people have become more aware of health care, the transmission of disease. I think everyone has become more aware of that. And I think that if you know you have a contagious illness, any illness, not just COVID, that you should be responsible and aware of what you're doing and how that affects other people. And if anything, I hope that we as a society have become more responsible about our decisions to go to work and go to school, but also have become more understanding about the need for people to stay home when they're not feeling well. You see now how everything shuts down if you say, oh, well, I have COVID or I'm exposed to COVID. There's no questions asked. You don't come to work.
Right.
You don't come to school. You don't come to work. You don't have to do a whole song and dance and feel pressure from your employer to get there because everyone knows, oh, I have COVID. I got to stay home. So I hope that we hold on to that to a degree, to say people's health is more important than making sure you get into work or making sure you go to that meeting.
Against the backdrop of the fact that most people are probably going to just be work from home from now on. So this whole idea of going back to a physical office may be something that just doesn't happen the way it used to be. So is it possible that whether or not you care about the well-being of other people and how your actions affect them, you wouldn't be doing that because you're home and not amongst people in an office?
So hopefully that, for a lot of people, that's such a good thing. So at a minimum, even if people are not permanently home, being at work from home is at least an option for far more people than ever used to be.
Right.
That now it gives you a way to still participate in the workforce from your house, without infecting other people. And that's such a good thing. And I'm so glad.
Just fuck up your family,
right,
not your coworkers.
Right, absolutely. Now you can just get your spouse and get sick.
Yes, exactly. Fantastic.
And on that note,
this has been your weekly dose of Vax On.
Make sure to tip your horses on the way out.
Tip your horses and
Carabaos.
Go Magn up yourself at Ikea. Look it up. Thank you, Ikea. Not a sponsor. We'll see you next week.
All right. There's your show. Put it together yourself.
Bye.
That's all for now. If you like Vax On, be sure to subscribe, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, follow us on social, and tell all your friends to listen. Tell us your shit show of a healthcare story by leaving a message for us at 855-AUDIO-66, and we might just use it in a future show. Vax On is a product of OffScrip Health. We are a healthcare engagement company built for patients and caregivers by patients and caregivers. Our executive producers are Matthew Zachary and Andrew McDowell. Our senior producer is Brianna Seeley. Our hosts are Matthew Zachary and Allura Nanos. It is recorded, mixed, and edited by Brianna Seeley. For advertising and media inquiries, email media@offscrip.com. That's media@offscrip.com. For more information, visit offscrip.com.